Okay, so now it's time for our featured speaker, and we have a tradition here at the GNA. And Rick, I think by now you know what our tradition is, because you've spoken at like 3 other GNA events. How far?
Yeah, how far?
As far as you want to go. So our tradition is we send our featured speaker all the way to the back. So Rick, start walking. So I'm going to give a little brief bio here on Rick Zeller. I first met Rick Zeller at another nearby event here in this area a couple of years ago. And what I really liked about Rick when I first met him is he's a really down-to-earth, outgoing, humble guy. He loves to help people, right, Joyce? And his wonderful wife, Joyce Zeller, is here tonight. Give Joyce a big round of applause. Very supportive. And that's why, you know, we've created the GNA singles professional site, which is a 30-day trial, because, look, this is a great power couple here. How long have you two been married for?
Oh, you wouldn't ask me that. I'm terrible with numbers, but I think it's 11 years.
Awesome, 11 years. 11 years is awesome, right? And you know,
oh, he heard me.
I would say behind every woman is a good...
11 years.
I was going to say behind every woman is a good man, but I'd say in front of every woman. Just so I'm safe here, right? I'm learning in front of every woman, in front of every good man is a good woman here. So with that being said, today Rick is going to be talking to us about, let me scroll down my notes here, daily method of operation, overcoming what's holding back. And he's going to talk about how to get from a goal to a dream to a desire, and then turn it into a daily method of operation for your business. So without further ado, let's give a big warm GNA welcome to Rick Zeller! Thank you for being here. It's all yours.
I want to go on record as saying that we have been married for 11 and a half years, and a few of them have been good.
Oh! Okay, so where are you sleeping tonight?
Yeah. Well, she knew that was coming. You know, they said it wouldn't last, and here we are 11 and a half years later, so.
And I always say, nobody ever said that.
You know, it's kind of cool that Elias, you know, pumps you up about how good something's going to be, but the bad news is, it's like over-promising, and then, you know, there's always that risk of underperforming. So I'm going to try and give you some information that you can take away. You know, we come to a lot of these meetings, and they tend to be technology-based, and that's really not what this is going to be at all. I'm not going to mention Facebook one time. We're not going to put any slides up. We're not going to talk about your website or any of that stuff. Although I would say that it's important. Going back to what was discussed earlier, I really wanted to say something. You know, you don't want to go ahead and put those 40% sales on there because it's your content. You want good content. I just did that for you. Thank you.
Correct. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to take roughly 25 to 30 minutes to go through this stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to go from, and by the way, this is obviously going to be brief because this is not a 6-hour seminar. So we're going to talk about how to set your goal, how to turn it into a dream, and then how to get it into a daily method of operation. Years ago, well, not that, probably 4 years ago, I had a mentor. His name was Daryl. Daryl Utterbach. Daryl died about 3 years ago. Young guy, and it was tragic because he had so much going for him. He was ranked in the top 24 network marketers in the world. Made over $4 million a year. And when somebody that's having that kind of success tells you how you might want to run your business, I just decided I wanted to listen to what he had to say. And so he's the one that sprung this DMO, the direct, your daily method of operation on me. And so I'm going to share most of that that he gave me to you. It works for all kinds of businesses, and that's key because not everyone here is in the direct sales business. So this formula, these facts, they will work for you. I don't care if you're a plumber or you sell skincare. It doesn't really matter. A lot of you, especially those of you that have been in direct sales, have heard the expression, you have to have a why that makes you cry. Okay, now, my mentor today is from Dallas. So he says, your why has to make you cry. And nobody understands that, except the people who live in Dallas. But so it's important that you're in touch with your why. But how many people here at one time had some kind of a job in corporate America. Okay? Well, guess what? Do you think anybody in corporate America wants you to be in touch with your why? You know, that's a conflict for them. They do not want you to have a dream. They want you to know what their goal is, and they want you to perform that goal. You know, a why in your hands when you're in corporate America is dangerous to them. So it's not anything that they want you to have. When I left corporate America and I was told I needed to start to dream, I didn't know how. You know, for me, it was impossible because I had spent so many years carrying out somebody else's business plan, or even doing the business plan for somebody else, that I wasn't able to get in touch with the things that were important to me. You know, my paycheck was important to me, but as far as what I wanted to do after hours or with the family or whatever, those things weren't really of any concern to me because my concern was doing something for somebody else. So for me, and I don't know if anyone else is in this place or has ever been in this place, for me, I decided I just needed to have a goal. So I worked on a goal, and when I hit that goal, I made a bigger goal. And what I was able to do through a progression is set from goal to goal until I was able to make the goals bigger and bigger and bigger until they became dreams. So if you don't have a problem dreaming, that's not for you. I mean, if you can sit down and know. And by the way, I have a friend, matter of fact, who's my best man at my wedding. And when I told him I want to know what his dream was, he told me his dream was to pay his mortgage next month. That is not a dream, okay? That's barely a goal, okay? So if you don't have a problem dreaming, great. But some of us do. And so my advice to you is to set small goals, but make them bigger and bigger and bigger as you achieve them. And at some point, they will become exponentially big. You won't just go 1 + 1 is 2. At some point, you know, 2 + 2 is going to equal 27. It just works that way if you'll practice it. So to me, that was really important starting out because I was not capable of doing the dream thing. The important thing is, though, when you're starting out especially, it's important to be realistic, but in an unrealistic way. And by that I mean, when you're realistic to the point where you set goals that you know you're going to make, it's not really much of a goal, it's not really a stretch, and you're not going to grow. However, you know, in the business that we're in, a lot of people that aren't used to dreaming, they think everything's equated to money, and so their goal is to make $1 million. And sometimes it's to make $1 million by next month. Okay? Now, we live in America, anything is possible. But the probability of anyone starting a business today and earning $1 million in 30 days, if you're hanging your hat on it, it might not work out for you real well. And so my words of advice would be try and set goals that are realistically a stretch, so that, you know, they're not a slam dunk, but something that you can accomplish, but something you have to work for. You need to write these down. Okay, if they're not written down, they mean nothing. In order to develop a plan and achieve your goals, you have to have it written down because you're going to need that to develop your daily method of operation. The next thing that I would ask you for you've got your goal, and hopefully you're coming up with some dreams. We'll talk about some dreams here in a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit about what mine are. But what are you willing to give up? You know, it's amazing to me. I get an awful lot of people on my team that want to change their life as long as it doesn't change anything in their life. They want more money, they want more prestige, they want a bigger car, they want to take their family on trips around the world, or whatever it is that they want, but they don't want to give anything up. Okay? And guess what? That isn't how this works. There's going to be sacrifice if you're going to achieve anything great. You have to determine what the sacrifice is. For some of you, it might be giving up the Sons of Anarchy. Okay? Yeah, you know?
Good one, Rick.
Some of you, that was probably like having a root canal. I don't know. you know, Joyce and I had our TV, our cable, disconnected 4 years ago. Now, I wouldn't tell you that I never miss it at, you know, World Series time, because I do, but that's why they have sports bars. I don't miss it. I don't miss the bad news. I can get all that I want to on Facebook. Okay? So, for me, it was a sacrifice in the beginning, but it's gotten to the point where we just don't miss it. We want to watch a movie, we'll watch something on Netflix, but we don't miss not having a TV. So some of you, that might be horrible. Some of you might need to give up, you know, dinner out sometimes, or, you know, going to... you don't have to worry about going to Kings games because they're going to be in Seattle.
Wow. He came prepared tonight. Right.
Anyway, yeah, don't stone me, okay? So you have to decide what's important to you enough to keep, but what's important enough for you to give up. Because honestly, you know, most of you I don't know real well. But if you want to really do something special, you're going to have to give something up. Because you're going to need time or money or something that you don't have an abundance of. If you're in business for yourself and you have an abundance of time, you're probably doing something wrong. But you're going to have to find something to give up. Let me do this first before I go on. Well, I'll come back to that. You must think about your goals every day. Now, I'm not going to ask everyone to raise their hand if you have your goals written out, because everyone will raise your hand, and even though it's been proven that 97% of the population does not write out their goals. So, there's a man that has it. But the good news is, I see that there was a loaf of bread and some milk on there. The average person, which apparently nobody in here is average, the average person does not write their goals out. Only 3% do. Of the 3% that do, only 10% of the 3% actually review their goals every day. Okay. If you're not reviewing your goals every day, you are relying on luck to succeed. Frankly, you know, I don't want to depend on luck. Luck is just too scary for me. If I was that lucky, I'd be in Tahoe right now. So it's just one of those things where luck is not the reason to do anything, or bad luck, certainly. So anyway, it's about reviewing what you're doing. That rhymes. Very cool. How about that? So your goal, if you're focusing on it on a regular basis and you're reviewing it every day, is going to develop desire to accomplish that. And that's the reason you have to write it down and you have to review it. Because if you don't, it's not in your mind, it doesn't become a desire. It's the desire to achieve that goal that makes your mind want to do that. Napoleon Hill, I'm going to paraphrase some things he said. He actually equated your desire to a why, and he said desire gains momentum when it has a concrete form. Your goals written out, where you can see them constantly, is a concrete form. So desire gains momentum when it has a concrete form. Who in here wouldn't want to see their business gain momentum? Really?
Not me. Not me.
Oh, not you. That's good. So you have them written, and you're looking at your written goals and they're becoming your dreams. And I want to speak about some of mine, and you guys can share amongst yourselves later, because we don't have that much time. You know, some of the things, when I got into the business that I'm in, money was my goal, because I didn't know better. I was brought up that the one with the most money and the most toys wins, and that's just not how it is. At least not for me anymore. So, you know, for me, we have 9 grandkids between us, and so our grandkids have become the main focus of what we want to do. You know, we have I have a dream board, I have a vision board, and all over that I have photos of Disneyland. I have a photo of Goofy. have photos of the grandkids. We really want to take all the grandkids to Disneyland. Now, we have 4 kids between us, and at any given time, we're speaking to 2 of them. We love them all, but I love the grandkids more than I love the kids. So we want the 9 grandkids to come. If the parents have to come, that's okay. But, you know, we want to take the grandkids there. It's an expensive venture. So that's one of the things on our list. Another thing that I love, I'm a huge baseball fan. I want to see a baseball game in a summer in every ballpark in the United States and Canada. Every major league ballpark, which barely includes, you know, where the Giants play, but that's a whole other story. Have I insulted everybody yet?
Yep.
Okay. So, you know, what is it that your dream is? You know, it doesn't have to be about money, although very often you need some money to do some of those dreams. We go to some conventions, and we have a pretty large team, and we'll sit around sometimes in a room, or if we have enough people going to the event, we'll have a suite. And, you know, but people are still sitting around the room, maybe having a glass of wine and talking about what their dreams are. And it's funny to me that when you get a group of people that are either financially free or that is their goal, and they're really working hard at that, it's amazing to me how what they want the money for is not them. It's for somebody else. You know, a lot of people think that people are greedy or selfish, but I honestly think most people, especially people that are working on themselves, want to give to other people. And, you know, if you can get in touch with what your true, you know, goals and dreams are, I think you're going to find that that's really where you are. You must be consistent if you want your desire to turn into a commitment. So it's one thing to review your goals every day, but if you're not really getting into what they say, I mean, if you're not really envisioning what they say, you're not going to have commitment. And you know, I don't care what business you're in, if you're not committed to it, it's not going to matter. So you have to get to a place where you have a no matter what mentality. And, you know, I'm not going to ask anyone to raise their hand over this because, you know, when a group study like this, everyone always wants everyone else to think that, you know, everything is so great. But I'll be honest, you know, there have been days in my life where I have prayed, God, get me through one more freaking day. You know, because I am not happy with where I am today. And it's the commitment that helps you get through that. And if you're not reviewing your goals and desires, you're just not going to be committed enough to say, I am going to make this no matter what. And if you're at a place where you can't feel that way, you just don't, you know, you want it to work, and you're working at it, but you are not at a no matter what, I'm going to make this work, you might consider looking at doing something else that you can feel really and truly committed over. Because if you're not really committed to it, eventually you're going to fail. It's just how does people that really are wildly successful are just totally committed. I've got too many notes here. Okay. You must realize that the plan does not come together in one night. You know, so many people decide they're going to start their business when they're about to lose everything in their life. And then they want something that's an instant fix. They're going to make it happen right now, where they probably should have thought about this 2 to 5 years ago. Starting a business is a 2 to 5 to a 2 to 10 year proposition. If you think it's anything other than that, you're wrong. Now, I'm not saying that sometimes there aren't instant successes. But usually when you have somebody that has an instant success because they just went to this new company and they're having wild success, is because they've learned lessons for the last 10 years someplace else. Usually they had instant success after 10 years of working real hard. And so it's really important that you get in touch with, you need to be committed no matter what, and you need to find something you can feel like that about for the next 2 to 5 years. which is it's a commitment. That is a really strong commitment. You need to get to the place where the business takes care of you. Now that would be my definition of financial freedom. Now, I'm guessing some of you want to pay bills, some of you have other goals. If I asked everyone to raise their hand, how many of you want to be financially free, my guess is a lot of you would raise that hand. But the goal then is to get to the place where your business will take care of you instead of you taking care of your business. If you can't set your commitment to make that happen, have it no matter what, how is that possible? How is that ever going to happen? So, you've got to look at your goals every day. Let's talk about the DMO. It's Daily Method of Operation. That's what it stands for. And I'm willing to bet you that most of you have some kind of a vague plan on what you're going to do when you get up tomorrow morning and go to work. You might have some appointments set, you might need to make some phone calls or whatever, but do you really have a plan? And this is going to be simple. Now I'm going to give you an example. You can take this out for those of you that are real analytical, you can take this to the moon. For those of you that are not analytical, just like to have fun, at least you can use this kind of an example to build your business. I tweak mine before we get into this. I'm going to kind of go over it on a daily and weekly basis. I tweak mine because for me, having a daily method of operation didn't work. Because I'm not disciplined enough. So I have a weekly method of operation. But for those of you that have more discipline than me, daily method works just great. When I started in this business, I'm hiding there. When I started this business, I got an accountability partner. And I'm going to suggest that you do that because if you're going to set up a DMO, you need to have somebody that's going to keep you honest. And it's probably not you. It should not be your spouse unless you just don't want them anymore. It could be a good friend, it could be somebody in your business, but it needs to be somebody that's willing to be totally honest with you no matter what. When I started in the business that I'm in, I was with a different company, but same business. My goal was to do 5 to 7 what I called a plan. Okay? When I meet with somebody from here and we just do a one-on-one, we just sit down and talk about each other. No presentation, we're just learning about each other. So it's not a one-on-one, although a lot of people in the industry call it that. My goal is to do 5 to 7 plans. So I'm actually getting somebody to ask me some questions about my product or my business. I got my mentor at the time to be my accountability partner. First week, we met on every Friday at 4. First week, I go in and I had people cancel, people not show up. My goal was to have 7 that week. I had 1. And my accountability partner, I told him what had happened, and he said, Rick, buddy, I would rather be anywhere right now rather than being here with you. So this is the deal. If you're going to be wasting my time, let's just not ever do this again. But if you're going to go ahead and actually work, then it's okay. Now, I'm not suggesting, by the way, it hurt me. I was able to move forward. There are people that it might cripple. There are people that might get in his face. I don't know. You got to find somebody that's going to talk to you in a way that you need to be talked to. And you know that better than me. So you got to find somebody that will be honest with you, but not turn you totally off on it, because the process works. From that point forward, I think the next week I had 5 or 6, but it got to the place where if I had a horrible week and people were canceling and not showing up and doing all kinds of stuff, if it was noon on a Friday and I had to meet him at 4 o'clock and I had 1 that week, I started talking to homeless people. You know, I would talk to anybody because there's no way I was going through that again. So, you do what you have to do. I'm going to use, for the DMO example, I'm going to use widget sales. Since we don't have to worry about offending anybody here, nobody here sells widgets. Let's suppose that your goal in life is to sell 1 widget a week. Okay? And let's suppose that you have to have 2 widget appointments to sell 1. Okay? The problem is that you have to talk to 4 people to get 2 appointments. Okay? And a bigger problem is you have to make 10 phone calls to get an appointment. Okay? So your goal, if you look backwards, if you want to sell 1 widget a week, you have to make 40 phone calls a week, and that's going to give you 4 appointments, which 4 people that are going to talk to you, which means there's 2 appointments, which means you're going to have 1 widget sale. So you now know, if you don't work Saturday and Sunday, you now know you've got to make 8 calls a day. Okay? So you have taken your DMO. This is, they're taught in basic insurance. You take your DMO is to make 8 calls. Now, guess what? If you have other duties, most companies want you to do so much customer service and this and that and the other thing, and if you guys are running your own business, maybe you put some of that on yourself too. But the reality is that to accomplish your goal, which is to make sales, which build your business, the very first thing you have to do is make sure that you're making 8 calls each day. So that is your DMO. Now, obviously that's really simple. You may have different types of products. We have people in here, like they're in media, that have 37 different products. Great. So maybe you have to have 2 of this and 3 of that and 4 of the other thing, and that's fine. You can do that on a spreadsheet. But the point is, you can isolate what your activity has to be for each thing. Now, stay with me for a second, because this is really important. Typical sales types, and I was a sales manager for a long time. Typical sales types get up on Monday, make that first call, and the person goes, I have been waiting for a widget salesman. Oh my God, this is my lucky day. I can buy your widget and I don't have to work the rest of the week. You know what the sales is thinking? Oh my God, I sold my widget. I don't have to work the rest of the week. Wrong. This is a numbers game. Your daily method of operation is to make 8 calls a day. Now, frankly, as a manager, I wouldn't have a problem if you doubled up or tripled up and had 16, 16, and 8. I mean, as long as you made your 40 during the week, I don't care. But see, the problem is that salesperson to understand is maybe next week they make 40 calls and nobody buys. See, business isn't magical. It's mathematical. And so the goal is to have the right activity every week. And that's where most of us fail, because we get a little success and we stop until the next period of time, whatever that is. So it's important to have your daily method, or if it's a weekly method or whatever, it's important that you do the activities, because the activities is what pays off. Okay. I'm just about done with this. I'm just about done. Can I get a cheer for that? I'm just about done.
I've enjoyed this.
Okay. Sometimes in our business, we're in the direct marketing business. We're in direct sales. Sometimes I'll get somebody that is meek, very timid. And they couldn't sell anybody anything, really. At least not where they are right now. And so, but somebody like, you got to remember, it's not necessarily about sales. I mean, everybody in here needs to sell something, or they don't make anything. We get that. But it's about the growth. So, if I get somebody that's really, if that happens, they become less timid. And then maybe next week it's 5, and maybe the following week it's 7, but actually make a presentation. So, I don't know what that means. So, I'm sorry. So it's important that you realize it's not just about money. It's about growth. We are all in the personal development and growth business. All of us. I don't care if we have a traditional business or we have a networking business. It doesn't matter. It's about personal growth. You're going to attract who you are. The more you read, the more you listen, the more events you go to, you become a different person, and so you're going to attract more people. It's about a journey of growth. So focus on your activity, and try to make the people around you better. I would like each of you, if you think a DMO would help you, and there's going to be somebody here that doesn't, but if everyone here thinks that a DMO would help you, I would suggest that you go ahead and you put together a DMO that you can live with for 90 days. It's amazing. You know, a lot of people set up a New Year's resolution, and of course next week it's over, and some people go ahead and set up a year goal, and of course next week they blew it. I would suggest you set a 90-day goal, because you can change your life. You can change your life in 90 days. Set up a DMO for 90 days, monitor it every day, get an accountability partner, set reasonable goals that are a stretch, and I think you're going to be amazed at what it will actually do for you. Now, that sounds really easy. The example I gave you is really simple, but I'm going to close with this, because this one paragraph has done more to change my life than anything. I'm going to read it even without my reading glasses, so it's liable to come out totally different than what was written. But this is from Jim Rohn. He said, "People often ask me how I became successful in that 6-year period of time, while many of the people I knew did not. The answer is simple. The things I found easy to do, they found to be easy not to do. I found it easy to set the goals that could change my life. They found it easy not to do. I found it easy to read the books that could affect my thinking and my ideas. They found that easy to not do. I found it easy to attend the classes and the seminars and to get around the other successful people. They said it probably really wouldn't matter. If I had to sum it up, I would say that what I found to be easy to do, they found to be easy not to do. 6 years later, I'm a millionaire, and they are still blaming the economy, the government, and the company policies, yet they neglected to do the basic, easy things." So if you do this, if you commit to this, I guarantee you it will change your life. Thank you.
Give Rick a big round of applause. Louder! Give Rick another big round of applause.